I'll call the meeting in order then. Ready to go? We'll let Ryan catch up. Are you all good there, CO Helma? Okay. So I'll call to order previous meeting for May 13th, and we'd like to recognize that collectively we are on the unceded territory of the Lillooet Nation. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Director Mack, second by Director Kennan. Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion as presented regarding Ministerial Order number M192 on local government meetings during COVID-19? Could somebody make the motion as presented?
I'll move that.
Director Mack, seconded by Director Kennett. Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Would anybody like to pull anything out of the consent agenda? Seeing none, motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Director Kennett. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any business arising from the minutes? Seeing none, we're ready to go into the closed meeting. So we're going to stop this recording and go into the other link now. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, we can do that. Or if you have a few more minutes, Chair, we could move forward item 8.1.
Okay.
Depending on the length. And
sure, let's keep going with some of the open stuff then. Let's go to 8.1 SLRD CAO verbal update. Ms. Helmer.
Thank you, Chair. Two things I wanted to mention today is we now have the NDIT intern. Her name is Leanna Stepan, and she's started with us and will be working on a number of projects on behalf of the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District over the next year to move forward on some of our priorities. And we are in the final stages for the regional business liaison person that will be also a one-year term and is going to be coming on board to support businesses across the entire regional district to deal with the impacts of COVID-19 and help connect them to resources and hopefully help them to keep their doors open. So those are both good initiatives I wanted to share with the committee.
Thank you. Any questions? Can I get a motion to receive, please?
Motion to receive.
Seconded by Director Kennett. Any opposed? Motion carries. Village of Pemberton CAO verbal update. Ms. Gilmore.
I do have an update. It's with respect to the basketball court. I just wanted to let the committee know sort of where we're at with that. We did have a conversation, a very preliminary conversation at the council table and where there were some concerns about the proposed location on the green space, so the great lawn at the community center. So what we're doing is we're getting a couple of renderings done, and the plan would be to bring that back to the PVIS committee at our next meeting, which I believe is the 10th of June, I want to say, for the committee's review, and then we'll be bringing it to council on the 15th. If there's a change in direction or any additional information that we can provide. So we're just currently at the rendering stage. We should have that by the end of the month is our guess. I just wanted to give you an update.
Questions?
No, that's just very good.
Okay. Motion to receive, please.
Motion to receive.
Second by Director Zant. Any opposed? Motion carries. So when I'm assuming we have, pardon me, Ms. Burns lined up for after our in camera. Is that the schedule?
She's here as well right now.
Just have a quick
I did let her know that if there was going to be some recessing, so she's happy to sort of be on standby.
Okay, well, I've got time yet, so if she's good to go, then let's bring her in. Hello, Ms. Burns. Good afternoon.
morning. Good afternoon.
So I know you've been given the heads up, but juggling a resolution at the Lower Mainland Government Association conference right now, so that we might need to interrupt your presentation. A quick recess, but we'll get you started with our first quarter update.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Let me pull up first quarter. I think for the most part, for first quarter, the things that I would like to highlight have lots to do with the fact that we have been continually adapting to new public health order restrictions, which have impacted our operations every time there's been an update to the restrictions. So it started right off the bat in the first quarter with changes to the PHO restrictions for group fitness in particular in January. So we were fortunate enough that that happened over the Christmas holidays. So we were adapted super quickly. And Angela Leggett, my fitness programmer, who I need to give extreme accolades to, jumped through all the hoops, modified 100% of the fitness programs that we had created for the winter set, and adapted them to meet the requirements for the public health order. As a result, we were full with wait lists for everything. We would have loved to have added more. However, staffing and restrictions prevented us from doing much more in that area. As well, things have gone really well with our school-aged area of programming through the winter. We've seen continual growth in the after-school care program. We're going to attribute some of that to hiring of staff this year to run that program so that they're directly connected to the recreation department. And that's been a bit of a roller coaster as well, because as you can imagine, staff have been juggling multiple things on a personal level. So accolades to Maddie Hepner as well in stepping to the plate with absolutely no hesitation. And I think I just actually typed in her mid-year evaluation that not once did she not come in on her day off if someone called in sick. And I would say that she came in on average once a pay period on her day off to cover because people were ill and she didn't have anyone else to work for the program. So that's gone really well. We had wait lists for those programs for spring as a result, I believe, and we're working to try and accommodate those also. As you can imagine, facility updates for the first quarter were a lot of steady as she goes, just maintain the facility. We've upgraded all of the MERV 13 filters, which I think should be recognized in that we now have hospital grade air circulation in our facility, which probably makes us safer than most hospitals because we actually aren't meeting our maximum capacity for those filters for people in the building at one time. So that's a super positive as well. There were lots of up and downs with that, but for the most part, considering we're still in the throes of a pandemic, there's lots of restrictions that specifically impact the area of recreation. We're very pleased with how things are going. I'd like to turn that one over to you if you have any questions in regards to first quarter activities in recreation.
Any questions? Go ahead, Director Kennett, then Director Zan.
I just have one question. So overall, did the staffing go fine? And just how many folks have you got sort of working part-time and full-time there? Like, was that really impacted? Did people go from part-time to full-time? Was there some flexibility there? Or?
At this point in time, we've maintained the 5 full-time staff. What that looks like, though, is in order to be fiscally responsible with the facility, those full-time staff are covering operational duties that we would have normally had more casual staff filling. But all of the casual staff have continued to work throughout the year. Our hiccups, we've increased the staffing capacity to a certain extent, but it's very ebbs and flows. And then obviously the challenges with staffing at this time in life are that family members get sick, children get sick, and staff themselves get sick. So there's definitely been a fair bit of juggling, specifically in the first quarter for sure. But right now things are steady as she goes.
My second question might be, was there COVID related illnesses from the facility at all?
We did not, did we have any? We had one positive throughout the last, not through the first quarter, but fourth quarter. We had one positive case in a casual employee that did not impact operations, other than that employee was unavailable for work. I have had probably 24 or more moments when staff have had time off for testing though.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that might be give or take.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, it seems like you've done a great job trying to keep things under control there. Good job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my pleasure.
Can I just add a quick clarification or question? That wasn't a direct result of getting COVID through the facility that we would
No.
say, like that was, yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a specific question, but
Okay.
that we know we haven't had any transfer of COVID throughout the facility.
Yeah. Well, and my comment is if there's better air quality, then that alleviates a lot of pressure on that end as well, right? So, yeah, that's good.
Certainly. We have a our safety plan is super solid as well, Director Kennett, as well. I'd just like to say the staff have been very conscientious because they work with public. They've been fantastic through all of this. So,
Yeah. Oh, good job under the circumstances.
thank you.
Director Zant, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Director Richmond, and thank you to you and your staff, Ms. Burns. It's been a marathon, and we're still running it. So, but I have two questions. You mentioned, I think, earlier in your report about hiring more staff for the rec department. Is that correct?
From a casual perspective, we have moved from using contract staff to hiring staff. Okay. It creates more stability in the areas of programming where we have done that, specifically in the after school care program.
Excellent, yes. Thank you. And then my last question is about your new air circulation system. My only question is, I support it. I think it's a great idea. I'm wondering what that'll look like from a budget standpoint with such a high standard air circulation system, and if we'll see maintenance cost increases in next year's budget.
They should be rather minimal. The filters themselves would be the only thing that increases the budget, and not significantly. You'd be surprised. The filters themselves run around the same price as what we were using before. $15 a filter. There are a lot of filters, so there will be some increase. However, we do deem ourselves capable of budgeting accordingly to accommodate that.
Thank you, Ms. Burns, and thank you to your staff.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, go ahead, Director Mack.
No, I'd just like to say thank you as well, to the staff and to yourself for running that place under the circumstances. So hopefully we'll get through this and your life will get a little easier. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Mack. We see a light. There's a light.
Dude, I think that's what I'm looking at. Yeah. Can I get a motion to receive the report, please?
Motion to receive.
Motion to receive.
Mack, second by Director Zant. Are any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Burns. Much appreciated.
Director Richmond, I
Yeah, go ahead.
was going to say that I thought that light behind you was your aura, the shining light of the chair.
Something like that.
Yeah, the halo.
That's right. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Halo.
All right. 8.4 shelf-ready projects for our recreation service. Ms. Burns, are you presenting?
Yes, definitely. First, may I please apologize for having technical difficulties and not being present for the last PVIS meeting when this was initially presented. I think I've sorted it all out on the home front. I believe what you were looking for in this report was just some price tags to be added to what those shelf-ready projects are. We went and we got some more quotes. So all of these numbers are pretty bang on, actually, you know, like give or take $100 here or there. But completion of the nature park for phase 4 would be approximately $25,000. Shade structures is approximately $25,000 as well for what we would be looking for. Outside furnishings is about $18,000. And then the spray park expansion is the biggie, where we would be really looking for grants to move forward with. And that expansion would be approximately $125,000.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Director Zant.
Sorry, so just my one question is with, because PVIS is a joint committee and Ms. Burns says she's going to start looking for grants, just curious, so who looks after that request? Is that the VOP staff or the SRD staff, or is it Ms. Burns? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to delegate it either way. That's not my role. I'm just, like I said, just a question.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I think that that falls to myself, who works jointly for both organizations and uses the PVIS board as our representation and our communication tool. So I believe it falls to me. I do feel fortunate enough to know that there are some staff currently at the VOP who know that I'm looking for grants, and they hold it back here, and that's what they're doing in their role with the village. So they have thrown me a few things here and there sporadically, which is absolutely wonderful. So, but as it stands right now, Adam and I guess.
Thank you.
No problem.
Director Kennett, go ahead.
I just have a question on the furniture. Are you looking at something sort of organic or made out of teak or wood or something? There's a lot of local carpenters and so on. My comment is if we can locally source it out with our own artisans would be great. And something that's going to stand up, obviously, I'm sure you've done all the due diligence on that, but.
Yes, Director Kennett, sorry. From a external furnishings perspective, we would be looking for furnishings that are more of a composite material, so not necessarily made locally, but taken into consideration the ecological impact and organic material use. And then it's mainly composite because of lifespan. So we would be looking for, and maintenance of. So if we were to go, I think something that I think about the Nature Play Park Phase 4 is something that I would be more inclined to look towards local artisans to do some creation of that space, as it's a reading circle is Phase 4 of the Nature Play Park. So I would hopefully be able to source some local artisans, and I would hope to have some First Nations input into that project moving forward. But the furnishings themselves we're better off to go with equipment that can be maintained for longevity.
Okay, thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Cognizant of time here, we have a delegation at 1:30 in camera. Are there any final questions on the shelf-ready projects?
Motion to receive.
Seconder. Director Mack, any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Ms. Burns.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So we're going to recess the regular Beavis meeting and leave this link, and then we'll go to the closed link that was provided. Go ahead, Ms. Helmer.
Thank you, Chair. Would it be possible for you at this time to go back to item 6 and pass that resolution before we recess, please?
Oh, yes, of course. So the motion from item 6 to move into camera, moved by.
I'll move that.
Director Zan.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick check-in and we'll open up the in-camera in a few minutes.
Okay, and I'll see you after.